And one of the things that's driven people on the right absolutely insane is obviously the dominance of the left in the cultural sphere. And my good friend Andrew Breitbart, who I think you knew, Andrew was fond of saying that culture is upstream of politics. The more people are shaped in the country by sort of the culture with which they engage, television, movies, entertainment, because we spend a lot more time engaging with that content than we do with political content. Do you think that's true? Do you think that people...
Yeah. There's a guy who wrote a book, his name is Paul Ingrassia, and he wrote a book, I believe, called Crash Course or Crash something, about the merger of Chrysler and Fiat, right? And what he says in that book is really important to me. He says culture will outdo organization every time, because culture is the oral Torah, right? Upon which our understanding of the written Torah is based. Now, so my wife is, every year she goes back to visit the old folks at home in Scotland. So I spent like 3 weeks alone forgiving her, okay? So I was watching a ton of classic movies. I love old movies, right? But they ran out of old movies. So they're running like Lassie Come Home Part 2, all of that. I get it already. How many times can you watch Lawrence of Arabia? So I started looking at on-demand movies, right? New releases, on-demand movies. And I've just seen a couple good movies over the last 10 years. Most of these movies are garbage, and not only are they garbage, they're a form of cultural obscenity, because they're either kiss kiss or bang bang. They're either simulated or non-simulated sex, or they're a sadomasochistic fantasy of violence. So I'm thinking, well, okay, left, right? Okay, Hollywood, if you're really interested in not mistreating women, don't do the sex scene. Knock it off. Learn how to write, for the love of, right? Because that's why the sex scene's in there, because people can't write. I say, if you're really interested in doing away with gun violence, why do you have a gun in every poster of every movie ever made? Why are people shooting each other? Why are they carving each other up? Well, the reason is that the people who write these things don't have any skin in the game, because they can't write very well. So if they don't get any joy out of figuring out a plot, what they're going to do is they're going to put, Adolf's meat tenderizer in everything, which is either sex or violence.
How do you think that impacts the culture? Do you think that has an impact on politics more generally, or do you think that it's sort of just the background noise? Like when people go to see a movie, do you think that actually has the capacity to shift how people think?
No, absolutely not. Well, I don't know, but that's good. It's a good question, because it doesn't have the capacity to make people better, which is the other obscenity, that movies are supposed to raise our consciousness, right? By saying deaf people are people too, black people are people too, gay people are people. The only people who aren't people too, you'll notice, are the Jews. We Jews are not people too, but nonetheless. So movies don't make people better. So the question is, I think hydraulically I have to say, do movies make people worse? I got to say probably not.